instance, you have class C address. Let's take an example. Let's say this is class C address, and with a class C address we have about 256 minus 2, let's say 254 valid IP addresses, and you only need 100. So if you take 100 out of the 254, you are going to be wasting, for instance, you're going to be wasting 154 IP addresses, so which is a lot of wastage. So that is why you are subnetting. You want to avoid those waste. Okay. All right. So that's basically what we are going to do. So now the next thing that we will say is that we're going to do some practical class C subnetting. Then from there, I will test your knowledge to see if you guys have any understanding of what I'm going to explain subsequently. So we go right from here. Now let me just increase this so it becomes more visible for you guys to be seeing what I am doing. I just think this is okay. Alright guys, so that's good. Now class C IP address looks like this: 192.168.0.0 prefix 24. So let's just call it prefix length at the moment we can just call it prefix length. Okay. Now that is my IP address. Now with this IP address, there are some IP addresses that I need to verify. That is the network address. Remember, the first valid IP address, the last valid IP address that is not valid IP, and the broadcast address. So those addresses, okay, I need to get them out. So I need to know out here what is the network address, what is the first value. So I need to subnet this so I can see, because I said with this I can have 254 valid IP addresses. So I need to subnet to see that range. Okay, so that is what this subnetting is all about. So to verify how many valid IP addresses are here, what formula do I use? It's 2 to the power, okay, 2 to the power of 2 to the power of 8, because with class C you have sorry about that. So with class C you have 8 bits. Okay, so let me just make it a superscript. So with a class B, okay, sorry about that. So with a class C you have 8 bits that are part of the host person. So 2 to the power that 8 gives you 2 to the power of that gate, it gives you what, 256. So it gives you 256. And then I told you guys, if anytime you have this, you have to subtract 2. Why you're subtracting 2 is because of the network address and the broadcast address. So when I subtract 2, I'm left with 254 valid IP addresses. So 254 valid IP addresses is a very good thing. Now what we do is we are going to subnet this. So we're going to bring these zeros and we're going to put it in binary. So we're going to convert this into binary. The 0, we need to convert it into binary. So we put 0 0 0 0 0 0. How many zeros do I have? Because sometimes I have problem knowing this. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. So let me just put these zeros here, then I can put my bit values on top. Okay, so let me just put this one here: 128 64 32 16 8 4 2 and 1. So these are my bit values. So with these bit values, this is exactly what we're gonna do. Now how do we get the address range? That is what we're gonna do right now. Okay, so what is the network address? What is the network address? The network address obviously is always going to be with the first IP address that you're gonna be given. So that is this address, the network. Okay, so your network address is already here. So that is, the network address is 192.168.0.0. That is always going to be your address, your network address. So next one is that we're gonna find the broadcast address first. So I will always find the broadcast address, then I'll find the first value and the last value, because the network is already given. So to get the next network, we'll get to that also. So the most important thing right now is how do you understand this, the bit value. So what I did was I just convert these zeros into binary, because the 0 into binary will give me 8 zeros, okay, because everything is 0, so everything is going to be 0 here for these bit values. Good. I don't touch this side. You can see I don't say anything about this side. I don't have to say anything about that side, because that side belongs to the network. I don't have to do anything with that side, okay. So I'll come to that side later, but right now what am I focused on right now is my focus right now is going to be on the host person, and we have to concentrate only on the host person. Alright guys, so that is an important thing. Now I need to find my broadcast address first, okay. Now how do you get the broadcast address? Is the formula to get the broadcast address is you have to add sum of the bits in the host person, okay, the sum of the host bits. The sum of the host bits add to the same, add it to the same to whatever value, to whatever, let me just call it that way, whatever value that is on the same portion of the network address. Okay, the sum of the host bits to be added to whatever value that is on the person on the same portion, okay, that is on the same portion of the network address. Let me just call it this way. Now I'm going to explain this. What I'm saying is, if I have these bits, how many bits do I have here? 8. What are those 8 bits? 124, 128, 64, all of them are together. They're all part of the host bits. You can see they're all part of, all of this is concentrating on this host bit. Now I have to add all this together. 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. Whatever value that I have here, I am going to add it to whatever value that is on the same portion, because this is the last portion, the last portion for class C, okay, and that's where we have our host. That's where we have our host person. You can see this is our host person. So this binary is what we have here. So the sum of those bits in the host person is race. So if we add all this together, we have to add it to whatever value that is on the same octet, okay. So this is last octet, so we have to add those values of the last octet to whatever value that is here to give us the broadcast address. So if we add all this together, 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, if we add them together, our value is going to be 255. So that is our value, okay. So if we add 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, we have